ఓకే సార్. స్ట్రీమ్ అవుతుందా? లైవ్ వస్తుందా? ఓకేనా? లెట్స్ స్టార్ట్. గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ స్టూడెంట్స్. సో what was our earlier discussion? Disqualifications. Let's make a simple Q&A session. Yesterday we discussed about some tricky points in entire so far discussion 164. Some tricky points are there. At the same point of time, at the time of appointment of independent director also, one difficult point is there. What is the difficult point? Anybody knows? At the time of appointment of independent director, one difficult point is there. I have clearly stressed that point at the time of discussion. At the time of appointment of independent director, should not default borrowings. No. Independent director. Independent director. Shall I give a clue? That difficult point is in respect with the resolution. What? Okay, anyway, no. Board of directors will appoint independent director. After the appointment done by board of directors, in general meeting, shareholders will simply ratify the decision. That's it. With respect to this ratification, one difficult point is there. What is the difficult point? Casual vacancy. Why again and again people are saying casual vacancy? No. Excellent. Excellent. That is the difficult point. So in the entire topic of appointment of directors, in order to appoint a person in the position of director, which resolution is required? Ordinary resolution is required. Some people are saying board resolution. Is every director is appointed by board of directors? Majority of the directors will be appointed by shareholders. Few directors are only appointed by board of directors. Say for example, additional director, alternate director, casual vacancy director, independent director at first phase. Few people are only appointed by board of directors. Majority of the directors, MD, whole time director, other people, executive directors, majority of the people are appointed by shareholders in the general meeting. At that discussion only, I have clearly stressed out regarding ordinary business. There are 4 points in ordinary business. Apart from that 4 points, every business is called as extraordinary business. What are those 4 points? Declaration of dividend, very good. Appointment of auditor, appointment of directors, adoption of financial statements. These are the ordinary, these 4 activities will be considered as ordinary businesses. Any other business other than these mentioned 4 points will be called as extraordinary businesses, in simple. Okay, so this is the tricky point regarding the appointment of independent directors. What is the tricky point is, in order to reappoint a person, reappoint an independent director, reappointment, first appointment is for the max tenure of 5 years. After 5 years, you can reappoint, but for that reappointment, you need special resolution from your members. Special resolution from your members. Examiner may try to confuse you regarding special resolution with respect to general meeting or board meeting. General meeting only. There is no concept called as ordinary resolution or special resolution with respect to board resolution. There is only one board resolution, that is ordinary, unanimous, whatever you can name it. There is no such concepts called as, in case of board resolution, there is no such concepts called as ordinary board resolution, special board resolution, unanimous board resolution, nothing. Only board resolution, that's it. This is the tricky point regarding independent directors. Let's coming to our discussion. You please get up. That one. Third bench. Explain regarding the disqualification of a person with respect to appointment of directorship in respect with imprisonment. Only imprisonment point. Imprisonment. Super. Sentence expire. From sentence expiry date. So from that sentence expiry date, how many years? 5 years. Third point. Super. Excellent point. Okay. So with respect to unpaid call money, disqualified. What is the tenure? What is the due date? 6 months. Very good. So after 6 months, what will happen? Director removal. He is disqualified from all directorships, right? From that particular company only. With respect to other directorships, they are well off. Okay. With respect to maximum number of directorships, last bench, first one. With respect to maximum number of directorships, 20. Is there any sublimits? Super, very good. Next one. Which company's directorships will be excluded from that calculation? Section 8 directorships will be excluded and LLP directorships will also be excluded. Very good. So, very good. Sit down. With respect to unsound mind, insolvency, imprisonment is the toughest point in that point, and related party transactions 188, that is not a big deal. With respect to 164.2, third bench, first one. Explain regarding disqualification of directorships with respect to 164.2. Company level disqualification. You can tell. Don't tense, you know the concepts very well. With respect to company level disqualification. So company, excellent. First point is dividend. Not only dividend, some other points are also there. What are the points? Deposits, debentures, principal, interest and dividends. Very good. Another point is company failed to furnish financial statements and annual returns for a continuous period of 3 years. Okay. So non-furnishing of financial statements for a continuous period of 3 years is the first point, and failure to pay the dividend and interest regarding debentures, deposits, this is the second point. With respect to second point, there is a time limit. Excellent. There is a time limit which is 1 year. There is a tricky point lies in 164.2. What is the tricky point? Say for example, you are acting as a director in a company. That company failed to furnish financial statements for a period of 3 consecutive years. Then what will happen? Very good. You are disqualified for reappointment in the same company and further appointments in any other new companies. But whatever the directorships you are holding simultaneously, if those directorships are compliant enough with the provisions, then no disqualification attracts. No disqualification attracts. At the same point discussion, I have already explained another tricky point also regarding vacancy. Super. What is you know that point? Oh, sit down. Anil. He can continue holding the office. He should not vacate the office. Why? Because he created the mess. He should clear that mess. Clear? Say for example, we appoint XYZ as directors. They fail to furnish financial statement. They fail to repay the deposits, borrowings, whatever mess they created. According to 164.2, if disqualification attracts and if they simply vacates the office, who will sort out all the mess? They created that mess, right? So they only should clear that mess. That is why disqualification occurs, but vacation does not occur. They no need to vacate the office. They will still continue to hold the same office. Okay. So these are the tricky points. And 164.3, that is additional disqualifications with respect to AOA. You can place n number of restrictions, but those restrictions must be well within the limits of law, Companies Act. And with respect to maximum number of directorships, one simple point is also there. What is that simple point? With respect to maximum number of directorship, is company allowed to place additional restrictions? Maximum number of directorships 20, but company can reduce it or not? Company can increase it or not? Company can increase it. Company is not allowed to increase it. Okay. You can't modify the law as per your wishes. Next one. Very good, very good, very good. So 164.2, there is a relaxation. What is that relaxation is? Newcomers, there is an exemption for newcomers. What is the time limit for newcomers? 6 months. If your appointment is made within the period of less than 6 months, then 164.2 disqualification will not attract to you. That is the point. So this is all about yesterday's discussion. Okay. So in our today's discussion, we are going to discuss some I think after qualification, disqualification, I think some concept is left out. What is it? DIN. DIN. I didn't discuss about how to obtain DIN. Yes. I'll explain this process with respect to DIN. And after the completion of this DIN topic, we are going to discuss appointment, reappointment, rotation. If time permits, resignation and removal also we will discuss in the same session. Very good. So coming to DIN topic. This is a very interesting topic. DIN full form, you all might know. What is it? What is the full form of DIN? Director's Identification Number. So if a person is intended to act as a director, or if his candidature is proposed to a company regarding the appointment of director, the place of director, then he must hold a valid DIN. He must hold a valid DIN. So in order to obtain DIN, there are two ways. What are those two ways? Way number one, this is the regular way. This is the backdoor. We can say that why? Because why I am saying this process this process as backdoor means the main process is incorporation of company. During the process of incorporation of company, you are obtaining DIN. So the main process is incorporation of company, INC 32, SPICE plus form. Simplified pro forma of incorporation of company electronically. SPICE means SPICE, simplified pro forma of incorporation of companies in electronic mode. SPICE plus form, in that process you are going to file INC 32. During that process you can obtain DIN, but only 3 applications are permitted in INC 32 application. You can apply for DIN numbers for maximum people of 3 numbers only, 3 members only. So this is the regular process, DIR 3. DIR 3. This is the regular process. So documentation, this is the important thing. Why documentation is important? All the documentation, passport size photo, mobile number, email ID proof, those are all not important. The highlighted point is this box, right? This is the important. This is the important point. What is the significance of that point? Let's quickly discuss. Say for example, you can have PAN on a casual way or on a precautionary note. So in what kind of transactions quoting PAN number is mandatory? If you are entering into certain banking and financial transactions, saying that withdrawing more than 50,000, depositing more than 50,000, and other services like purchasing jewelry more than 2 lakhs, in such kind of transactions, quoting PAN number is mandatory, right? Even though you are not going to enter in the transactions immediately, on a safer note, you will apply for PAN card. You will apply for PAN. How many of you are having PAN card right now? No, not right now. How many of you guys have PAN card? So you are all having PAN card, valid PAN card, right? How many times you purchased gold worth more than 2 lakhs? How many times you made transactions like that? So even though immediately you are not going to enter into such transactions, on a precautionary note, you will obtain PAN card. In future use, we can easily quote our PAN card. If it is readily available on a handy note, we can use that PAN card. On that safer note, you will obtain PAN card. But DIN is different case. DIN should not be obtained in that way, or on a precautionary note, or on a casual way. DIN will not be allotted for any person. DIN will be allotted to you only if you are going to appoint as a director, or if your candidature has been proposed to a company regarding the appointment in the place of director, then only DIN will be allowed. Say for example, now I wish to have one DIN number. As of now, I don't have any DIN. And now no company is proposing me, or no company is considering me for the position of director. So if I apply for DIN, the application will simply be rejected. 500 rupees will be went into vain. It is a waste of time. 2 biryanis will come. 500 rupees will waste. Why? Because this is the important thing in the entire documentation of DIN documentation. What is that important thing? BR. BR means board resolution. Board resolution proposing him to appoint as director. Board resolution proposing him to appoint as director. So someone should propose you regarding the directorship. Then only DIN will be allotted to you. Otherwise, you should not be allotted with the DIN number. Remaining documentation, that's not a big deal. Passport size photo. You all know about passport size photo. Email ID, mobile number, ID proof, etc. etc. So this DIR 3 must be signed digitally by the applicant and by CA, CMA, CS in practice. Digital signature is required. And application fee you have to pay. Currently that fees is around 500 rupees. And MCA will process the application and will allot a unique 8-digit DIN, and it is valid for lifetime. Valid for lifetime. Annual updation of KYC is required. That is the only thing. Annual updation of KYC. Is there any changes in your address? For example, you have changed your residential address or place of visit, changed the mobile number, email ID. That KYC you should update. That's it. Nothing other than that. And this is the important thing. Surrendering DIN. Surrendering DIN. In usual cases, MCA will not allow for surrenderance of DIN. In usual cases, MCA will not allow for a person to surrender his DIN. Why? Because if surrenderance is allowed, what will happen? Say for example, I obtained DIN and I am acting as a director in multiple companies, 15 to 18 companies. and 10 years I made enough fraud with all those companies, and I'll simply surrender. Sampradayini, Suppini. I'll simply surrender the DIN. So, for a period of 10 years, parallelly 15 to 18 companies in each year, 15 to 18 companies, I'm acting as director. In the span of 10 years, I'm going to appoint as a director for 150 to 180 companies, and I made enough fraud for my lifetime, and I'll simply surrender my DIN. So that is why in normal circumstances, MCA will not allow for a person to surrender his DIN except these four cases. So what are those four cases? Number one, failed to appoint as director. Failed to appoint as director. So at the time of application of DIR 3, what you have attached in your documentation, important documentation? Board resolution. Board proposed your candidature for directorship, but members rejected you. You failed to get into appoint as a director in the company. Your candidature has been successfully rejected by the members. You fail to appoint as a director, then you can surrender this DIN. No problem. And the second point is, by mistake or by intentional fraud, you are holding multiple DINs. You are holding multiple DINs. By mistake, MC also can do some sort of mistakes. Multiple PAN cards, multiple Aadhaar cards are there, na? In the same way, multiple DINs. Then you can surrender one DIN. And third point, if person deceased or person become unsound mind or person become insolvent, automatically you can surrender, or even though you're not going to surrender, in case of insolvency, the data will be updated and your DIN will be cancelled. Next one, no longer acting as director in any company. Currently you are not acting as director in any company, and you have no intention to act as director in future also, then you can surrender. But in this case, generally MCA will not allow, but on trial and error basis, 50-50 chance is there. MCA may allow, MCA may not allow. On all your lifetime, you acted as a director in hardly 5 to 6 companies, that too private companies, not so important companies. Then you are filing for surrenderance. MCA might allow you. Why? Because your exposure is very, very, very minute. So it all depends upon MCA. So this is all about DIN. Annual updation completed, surrendering DIN completed, uploading form, DIR 3. So how many ways are there? 2 ways. Spice plus form, regular way, DIR 3 form. DIR 3 is the most commonly used way to obtain DIN. Spice plus form is not a regular way. We will use Spice plus form only when at the time of incorporation of company. That is why maximum 3 applications will be allowed. 3 applications will be allowed. Say for example, you booked a ticket for Tirupati through APS RTC. On a complimentary way, they will offer 500 rupee special darshan ticket. Everybody who is going to Tirupati definitely only for temple only. They might have some other business works also. So what is the main thing here? Going to Tirupati, from Hyderabad to Tirupati. What is the complimentary benefit you are getting? 500 rupees special darshan ticket. Some people might use it, some people might don't use it. Simple. In the same way, what is the Spice plus form usage? Incorporation of company. That is why only max 3 DIN applications are entertainable at the INC 32 form usage step. After say for example, if you wish to apply for 5 DIN applications, only 3 will be allowed here. Remaining 2 you have to apply through which form? DIR 3, regular form. DIR 3. So these are the ways. Qualifications and disqualification. Disqualifications anyway completed. Qualifications, there are no specified qualification in entire Companies Act in order to act as director. Say for example, is there any educational qualification? Is there any age-wise qualification? For normal directors, there is no such qualification. The only requirement is if you are able to enter into a contract, that is the more than enough qualification to act as director. Who are enough capacity to enter into contracts? Majors, sound-minded persons. Major means 18 above, 18 and above. Okay. So for normal directorships, 18 years of age is enough. Above 18 is enough. But for MD, whole time directors, managers, what are the age wise restrictions? Minimum 21. Minimum age cannot be relaxed. Minimum age cannot be, maximum age you can relax. What is the maximum age? 70. After 70, no appointments. You can appoint that person who is having above 70 age. But what is required? Special resolution is required from your members in the general meeting. That means 75 or more percentage of people should okay, and you need to convince and justify the shareholders with respect to that old man's appointment. Simple. These are the things we have covered yesterday. 164.1, 164.2, 164.3. No doubt 164 is an important section from examination point of view. You might encounter any sort of MCQ, a practical question from any of the discussed points. Okay. Next one, this is the new concept or new topic which we are going to discuss today. About DIN also I have clearly mentioned in the material. Just a minute, I will show you. All about DIN, there is a point. I remember I included a concept called all about DIN. Yeah, this one, all about DIN. All about DIN. So what is DIN? DIN is a unique 8-digit number allotted by central government via MCA, mandatory for every person, allotted DIN value for the lifetime, unique identification. Who can apply? Natural person, citizen of India. What is the procedure? What is the underline? What is the rounded off matter for new directors? That means at the time of incorporation of companies, Spice Plus. What is the second step? What is the other way? Post incorporation. Are you able to find it in the material or not? Next one. So this is the step for regular process. DIR 3, payment 500 in etc. etc. Prohibition, penalties. This is the total summary point. Okay. Okay, let's quickly discuss regarding appointment of directors. This is also one of the beautiful concept, and you might expect some practical question from these topics also. This is equally important as at par with 164 section. Appointment, reappointment, rotation, resignation, removal, remuneration. Appointment, reappointment, rotation, resignation, removal, remuneration. 6 topics. Okay. So let's quickly try to discuss appointment. Don't write anything. Just observe the material, handwritten notes. It is more than enough. First try to understand the subject, then you can write. Simple thing is, first of all, FD, appointment of first directors. Appointment of first directors. At the time of incorporation of company, we will prepare documentation, right? In documentation, major important things are MOA and AOA, right? So AOA should clearly mention who are the first directors of the company just after the incorporation. If the company is incorporated, who are the first directors? AOA should tell about it. if AOA is silent. In AOA, nobody's name is mentioned as first directors. Then all the individuals only, all the individuals who are the subscribers to the memorandum of association will become the first directors. Automatically, they will become first directors. Only individuals. Body corporates not allowed, right? Who are allowed to act as directors? Only individuals. Body corporates are not allowed to act as directors, right? They are disqualified. So, in case of first directors also, AOA must mention, AOA should mention regarding the names of first directors just after the incorporation. If AOA is silent, then all the members who are individuals, who are natural persons, will automatically become the first directors. This is about first directors. Next one, subsequent directors. Subsequent directors means, actually one bifurcation is there. That bifurcation also not that much important. Say for example, public and private company, same rule, will decide as per AOA. If AOA is silent, all individual subscribers is equal to FD. FD means first directors. In case of OPC, one person is mandatory, na? That solo member will become director if unless otherwise stated. If something is stated, that person will become as director. Say for example, I am incorporating an OPC and I have mentioned Mr. X as director. Then who is first director? Mr. X. I am silent. I suggest, I stated nothing. My articles of association, memorandum of association is silent about regarding the appointment of first directors. Then the member who is incorporating that OPC, na, that member, that solo member will become the first director. Simple case. Subsequent director. Subsequent director. It is very, very simple. Listen carefully. Subsequent directors. Just now we finished the discussion. What is meant by ordinary business? 4 points. Adoption of financial statements, declaration of dividend, appointment or reappointment of auditors, appointment or reappointment of, that is ordinary business, right? It indicates what? It is the basic responsibility of the shareholders to appoint board of directors. It means who needs to appoint directors? Shareholders at general meeting. It may be AGM or maybe EGM. Okay, so we found the answer for our question. Who will appoint the subsequent directors? Simply shareholders. Shareholders will otherwise be called as members. Members will appoint the directors. But some kind of directors will be appointed by board of directors. That is a different case. We have to talk about general rule. In general, in public company or private company, who will appoint the directors? Shareholders at general meeting. C. SD, subsequent directors. Subsequent directors, public company. In case of public company, BOD will be decided by members in GM, general meeting. Some appointments will be made by BOD also. This is an exception rule. Example. Okay, whatever. First, even for first appointment or second appointment, shareholders ratification is required. But for first appointment, ordinary resolution is required. Second appointment, special resolution. It is an entire different topic. We should not include independent director here. We can include 2 directors. Additional director, alternate director. Additional director, alternate director. So that is the case of public company. What is the case of public company? In case of public company, the subsequent directors will be appointed by members in the general meeting. Simply close the topic. Next one, private company. Also same way. In private company also, members will come and appoint the board of directors. But in private company, they can delegate the powers to directors. They can transfer the powers to directors. Read out. So follow as per AOA. If AOA is silent, same as appointment process mentioned in public company. What is the process mentioned in public company? Appointment will be done by members. So if AOA provides that, AOA of private company provides that the appointment will be done by board of directors, then appointment will be done by BOD only. If AOA is silent, then as per the provisions of Companies Act 2013, the same process which we follow for public company, we have to follow in case of private company also. What is the process we are following in public company? Appointment of board of directors by members or shareholders in. That is the same process we have to copy and paste in case of private company also. Next, a person who is going to appoint as director must mandatorily submit 3 documents. There may be a short note question, or there may be an MCQ, or there may be a practical case question depending on these 3 documents. Understand carefully. First document, second document, third document. Any person, any company, it is equivalently applicable for private company, public company, OPC, every company. So what are those 3 topics? First one, DIN. Just now we discussed the significance and importance of DIN for a director. DIN is mandatory and optional? DIN is optional, mandatory. So he should mandatorily submit DIN, point number 1. Number 2, POI in other businesses, particulars of interests. Particulars of interest in other business. Say for example, we are considering Mr. X candidature regarding the appointment of director in our company. We don't know much about Mr. X shareholding pattern, Mr. X investment pattern, etc., etc. Mr. X individual asset pattern, we don't know. That is why we will ask this POI, particulars of interest in other businesses. Say for example, our company name is ABC Limited. Our company name is ABC Limited. We have a subsidiary company also. That subsidiary company is XYZ Limited. Mr. X is a shareholder in XYZ Limited. We don't know that thing. Mr. X is having some 100 shares or 500 shares in XYZ Limited. We don't know that thing. Why? Because holding 100 shares and 500 shares are not a material thing in practical way. 100 shares and or 500 shares, that not a big deal. Mr. X is holding 100 shares in our subsidiary company. We are considering Mr. X candidature for the place of independent director. Is it possible? What is the basic qualification of independent director? He must not be having any sort of pecuniary relation with our company. Clear or not? But in the given case, that person is holding some 100 shares or 500 shares in our subsidiary company. How come we know about his investment pattern? That is why we should ask POI in other businesses. After reading his POI, we will came to know about whether he will become our relative or not, whether he will become an interested person or not. That is why, say for example, our company is entering into a joint venture with another partnership firm. In that partnership firm, that person is a sleeping partner. How come we know? There is a chance, right? So that is why we should clearly know about the director's investment pattern, interested pattern. That is why POI will be insisted. Particulars of interests. In which company you are having shares? In which partnerships you are having interestable stakes? And in which LLP you are a designated partner? You have to submit the documentation, POI. This is a mandatory documentation. All these 3 documents are mandatory, no optional. So first one is DIN, second one is particulars of interest in other businesses, and the third one is consent letter. We will discuss more with respect to POI after 2 days. I think today is Tuesday, right? By Wednesday, Thursday. By Thursday or Friday, we'll discuss more about POI. At that point of time, you will understand the relevance of POI. Okay, DIN is first point, POI is second point. What is the third point? Consent letter. What is that consent letter? Consent letter is nothing but director is saying that I am ready and willing to act as director and I am not suffering with any sort of disqualification mentioned in section 164. He should file it. DIR 2. DIR 2. So these three documents are mandatory for every person who is going to appoint as director in any company, public, private, OPC, section 8, dormant, whatever, each and every company. Clear? Next one. After that, company should file DIR 12. This is most important thing, DIR 12. Even if you engage in practice, you will frequently file DIR 12 for every company. DIR 12 talks about changes in the directorships of a company. Change in the directorships of a company. Say for example, one director died, one director disqualified, one new director appointed. So DIR 12 for in each and every case, if there is a change in the directorship of a company, then each and every change, modification, you should update to MCA. Through which form? DIR 12. And there is a time limit also, 30 days. You have to file the form to MCA. You have to intimate regarding the changes in the candidate, changes in the directorships. Within 30 days of change only, you have to inform to MCA. Next one. So this is all about appointment of directors. Appointment of directors. So let's quickly summarize our entire discussion. What we have discussed so far? Appointment of directors. Appointment of first directors. Appointment of subsequent directors. What is the case in case of, what is the answer in case of first directors? In AOA, it should clearly mention regarding who are the first directors. If AOA is silent, then all the individual subscribers who are subscribed to MOA will automatically become the first directors. Clear? Coming to SD, subsequent directors, what is the case? In case of public company or a private company, members in the general meeting will appoint the directors. In case of OPC, the member will be the director, right? So if he wish to leave the company, he should appoint another company and leave the company. And he has to leave the company. So appointment, with respect to appointment. And one more thing, with respect to appointment, each and every director must submit 3 documents in a mandatory way. What are those 3 documents? What is POI? Particulars of interests in other businesses. Why particulars of interest is needed? Just to decide whether he is an interested party or not. He might be an interested. I have already told you an example. Our company is trying to enter into a joint venture with another partnership firm or another company. In that company or in that partnership firm or in that LLP, he is having some stakes. That means he is an interested party. So in order to decide whether he is an interested party or not, so just because he became an interested party, he is not disqualified. He is still qualified to act as normal director. He can act as normal director. But in order to decide the decisions, in order to, regarding there are some disqualifications regarding participation in the meetings. I am going to tell you after 2 sessions. There is a dedicated concept with respect to POI. After completion of loans to director section 185, I am going to discuss regarding POI. At that time, we will elaborately discuss regarding POI. As of now, POI means particulars of interest in other businesses, just to determine whether he will become a related party or not. That's it. That is the mandatory thing. Second document. What is the third document? Consent letter. Acceptance letter. Yes, I am ready and willing to act as director in the company, and I am not suffering with any sort of disqualifications mentioned in section 164 of Companies Act. This is consent letter. Consent letter number DIR 2. DIR 3 is the application. DIR 2 is the consent letter. And most commonly used DIR is DIR 12. Most important. DIR 12 is the most commonly used form by any chartered accountant or any cost accountant or any company secretary. Why? Because it will deal about changes in the directorships of a company. I'm talking about change. It may be appointment, reappointment, rotation, resignation, removal, disqualification, whatever it may be. What is the time limit for DIR 12? 3 days. 30 days. Okay. So this is all about appointment discussion. Are we clear with appointment discussion so far? So let's quickly jump into the discussion of rotation and reappointment. Rotation and reappointment. Rotation. First of all, I'll discuss about rotation. This is the important, at the same point of time, Confucius thing. Rotation. Rotation of directors, RD. Listen carefully. Out of the total strength of directors in a company, total strength, include everyone. Out of the total strength of directors, 5 people will be excluded from the calculation. Who are those 5 directors? Means nominee director. Why? Because he is nominated by some other person, some financial institute, in order to protect their interest. Okay, next one, independent director. Why? Because independent director's appointment is on a different basis. Okay, if we include him in rotation process, job insecurity will arises and he will try to act in a biased way. How an independent director is expected to work? Unbiased way. But if we include him in the rotation process, he might work in a biased way. That is why we will exclude him. That is why fixed tenure has been given to independent director, 5 years. After that, another 5 years. After 2 terms, what will happen? Cooling period will be applicable. How many years? 3 years. Very good. Sir, it's an entirely different discussion. So, who are the directors which will exclude, or which kind of directors we should exclude from the calculation? Means nominee director we should exclude, independent director we should exclude. In the same way, small shareholder director. Why small shareholder director has been appointed? Simply answer one thing. Small shareholder director will be appointed by board of directors, right? Small shareholders director will be appointed by board of directors, right? No, small shareholder directors candidature has been proposed by small shareholders in order to represent them in the board. And he has been appointed for a fixed tenure of 3 years. So that is why he will also does not come under rotation process. Another 2 guys are also there. Additional director, alternate director. Additional director, alternate director. Actually, I forgot to tell you one important thing with respect to additional director. What is the relevance of additional? I have already told you that we will generally appoint additional director to discharge the workload, right? But there is another hidden intention also regarding the appointment of additional director. What is that hidden intention? Or what is the another dimension of usage of additional director? Means, say for example, we started a simple private limited company or startup. One industry expert is there. one well-known chartered accountant is there. He's practicing in this area for 20-25 years. Practicing since 20 plus years. Say for example, you started a company few months back, hardly 6 months back or 1 year or 2 years back, you started a simple private company. You wish to utilize the expertized services of that person. You wish to utilize the services of that person and you offer the employment to that person. What he will do? He will straight away stop the practice which he is doing from past 20 years and he will all the way come and join in your company. What is the age of your company? 2 years. Since how long time he is practicing in this area? 20 years. So what is the practical outcome of that proposal? He will straight away reject your proposal. Right? So if you start a company and if you wish to utilize the services of that expertized person, then you can do so by offering directorship in your company. For that purpose, you will offer directorship in the name of additional director. In the name of additional. Say for example, in practice rules, there is one strict rule is there. You should not be in full-time employment in any company, right? If you choose employment, you should leave practice. Then additional directorship is a directorship or employment? Directorship. It will not fall under employment category. If in that case, what will happen? You are willing to use the expertise services of that person and he will come in the name of additional director and he is rendering his services and you are using his services and he is parallelly doing his practice. No objection to anyone. In first case, what will happen? You have offered employment. If he joins employment with your company, he should stop practice. That is why he will straight away reject your employment proposal. So that is why additional directorships will be widely used in the practice, widely used in the normal case of company appointments. If you wish to utilize the industry expertise person's services, simply they will offer directorship in the name of additional director. Why? Because they will simply reject your employment proposals. They are not ready and willing to work under your guidance. Why? Because they are experts. That is why if you offer additional directorship, it will be beneficial for both of you. No harm to anyone. Win-win situation. So this is the importance of additional director. So these are the 5 situations or 5 cases we should exclude from calculation of rotational directors. Okay, so what are all those 5 persons? First one, nominee director, independent director, small shareholder director, additional director, alternate director. Alternate director. After that, what will happen? Say for example, we have 14 directors. After deducting these 5 candidates, 14 minus 5, 9. 2/3 of total number of directors must be rotational directors. 9 into 2 by 3 comes to 6. 9 into 2 by 3 comes to 6. So out of the 9 directors, 6 directors must be rotational directors. 6 directors must be rotational directors. It means another 3 directors may be non-rotational directors. Non-rotational directors means they may continue with the company for another tenure also. Say for example, we are appointing MD for a period of 4 years or 5 years or 3 years. His employment tenure is stating that he is going to live with our company for coming 4 years or 5 years. He will be excluded from this calculation. Why? Because his employment terms is saying on a fixed basis. That is why we will exclude. Okay. So 9 into 2 by 3 comes to 6. So total number of rotational directors must be 6 directors. Out of this 2/3 rotational directors, 1/3, 6 into 1 by 3 means 2. 1/3 of directors, 1/3 of rotational directors must retire, must go out of the company. Okay, say for example, some fraction number arises. That is the most important thing. This 9, 6, this is not a big deal. Students will tend to confuse in fraction numbers. That is why I am going to give a clarity regarding with respect to rounding off. There are two situations with respect to rounding off. I have already clearly mentioned in the material also, nothing to worry. Not this material, handwritten book I have clearly mentioned. I am going to explain, listen carefully. Say for example, we are having 15 directors. We are having, and we excluded 5 directors. Nominee director, additional alternate, independent director, small shareholder director, we excluded. Number comes to 10. So out of the total thirds must be rotational, right? 10 into 2 by 3, how much? Very good. 6.67. 6.67. Now, we should consider 6 or 7. We should consider 6 or 7. So, don't your mathematical knowledge here do what I am saying. So, we should use the rounding off provisions saying we should always consider next number. In 2/3 calculation, we should always consider next number. Next number means, say for example, if the answer is 6.1, what is the next number? 6.1 next number is 7. What is your mathematical knowledge is saying? That is why I insisted that don't use your mathematical knowledge. In 2/3 calculation, we should always consider next number. Always consider next number. 4.2 means 5.2 means 6.3, 1.1, 1.7. Rounding off provisions are saying that less than 0.5 next number. Don't use mathematical rounding off knowledge. In case of 2/3 rounding off, we should always consider next number only, irrespective whether the fraction is above 0.5, below 0.5. We should ignore it. Whether it is above 0.5 or below 0.5, we should ignore it. We should blindly consider next number. In case of which calculation? 2/3 calculation. Next, in case of 1/3 calculation. In case of 1/3 calculation, we should not consider next number, we should consider nearest number. Nearest number means you can use your knowledge, mathematical knowledge. 1.1 means, 1.7 means, that kind of things you can do in case of retirement. Okay, so 2/3 calculation, 1/3 calculation clear? Let's read, let's quickly understand with respect to handwritten notes. This is regarding rotation of directors. First, what it is saying, this rotation process is applicable to public companies only, and government companies are excluded from this calculation, from this applicability of these rules. Mandatory rotation is applicable only to public companies, not applicable to private companies and OPC. Sir, a private company is there and it is ready and willing to implement these provisions in that company. It can do so. It can do so, no problem. No one is barring private companies from implementation of these rules. Rules are not applicable for you. If you wish to appoint, if you wish to implement, you can implement. No restrictions. You can make the rules in a strict way or a stringent way, but you can't relax the rules. The same way, these rotational provisions are applicable only to public companies, not applicable to private company. But if a private company wishes to implement these rules in the company, it can happily implement in the private company. No one is objecting for the implementation. Clear? What is the rotation rules are saying? First one, applicable to public companies, calculation of RD. RD means rotational directors. First one, total directors. We should exclude these directors: independent director, nominee, small shareholder, additional director, alternate director. What is this box is saying? Read out loud. MD, WTD will also be included in the pool unless their appointment exempts. What I have told earlier, say for example, if an MD is appointed for a fixed tenure, we are going to appoint Mr. A as MD for coming 3 years. His employment tenure is saying that he is going to act as MD for coming 3 years. Then why we should include that person in the rotational pool? He came with our company on a fixed appointment basis, right? So that is why we should not include him in the rotational pool. Why? Because he came under a fixed employment tenure. Say for example, we appointed Mr. A as an MD, that's it. No fixed tenure has been given. Then we should include that MD and WTD also into this pool. Okay, this is the point. Are we clear with this point? Are we clear with this point? Next one, rotational directors is equal to 2/3 of total directors. If you got fraction, round off to 5.1 means 5.7, 2.2, clear. Next one, retiring directors, 1/3 of rotational directors. If you got fraction, round off to nearest number. 5.1 means 5.7, 2.2, that is the process. In retiring process, we have to follow these rules. First of all, we should give choice on the basis of mutual consent. Say for example, 9 rotational directors are there. 9 rotational directors. 9 into 2/3, 6. Out of 6, 1/3 should go out of the company, right? 6 into 1/3, 2. Now, 2 directors has to vacate the office right now. Who are those 2 directors from the 9 members? They have to decide by mutual consent. If mutual consent is not arrived, then longest duration director will vacate the office first. If he is reluctant, then we'll choose on lottery basis, draw by lots. This is all about the rotation of the rotational directors with respect to the concept of explanation regarding rotation directors. Okay, let's wind up this session here and we'll discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to discuss, don't close the books. Tomorrow we are going to discuss resignation, removal, remuneration. What are those 3 topics? Remuneration. After that, we will be left with powers and duties of directors, and KMP. And those 3 topics are there: 184, 185, 186. 184 POI, particulars of interest. 185 loans to directors, and 186 loss of profit, if I am not wrong. Some section is there. With respect to that section, we will discuss. So hardly in coming 2 days we are going to complete board of directors chapter. Okay, so I have originally allocated 10 to 11 hours for this chapter, but I am going to complete this chapter within 9 hours only. 9 to 10 hours max. 1 hour surplus hour is there for us. Okay, so for each and every chapter also I have clearly allocated the budget for those chapters. And directors and meetings, these 2 chapters are very crucial from your examination point of view. So from initial session, are we clear with the discussion? Are we clear with the so far discussion? From initial discussion, 234, director is a person. Who is a director? Director is a person who is appointed to the board. Roles and importance of director, minimum number, maximum number, types of director, qualification, disqualification, appointment, reappointment, rotation. Tomorrow we are going to discuss resignation, removal, remuneration. This is the structure. So those who are attending the classes regularly, they might have enormous command on this subject. And by the time we are going to complete the syllabus, you are going to have enormous command on paper number 13. If you remember my first session, what is our minimum target? 40 plus, very good. What is our minimum target? That is not even average target or maximum target. That is the minimum target. I'm very well committed and designed the classes according to that marks schedule. If you simply come and attend the sessions, you are going to score 60 plus in paper number 13. That is my promise. Okay. Right. 8:20. So I'm not going to consume your additional session. Let's wind up this session here. We'll discuss tomorrow. Right. Thank you.